Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting Wednesday evening chat about our theme is thriving. I couldn't think of a better person than my special guest, who we will introduce in a minute, to talk about our topic and how we can thrive and really thriving within ourselves. But let's say hello first. You know, this is how I stall for 2 minutes while everybody comes on in. Hello, Nikki. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Helen, hello. Brene, good to see you, my friend. And Clarissa, hello. Teresa, hello. Andrea, hello. Beth Rogers, so good to see you. Ellen says hello. And Intissar, hello. Hello, Emmy. Well, hello, Emmy. It's so nice to have you back where you belong. Okay, sorry. Yes, we just break out in song lately. Hello, Gloria and Priscilla. Intissar is there because I didn't know if there was a website for you that people can contact you.
I do not have a website. I have a page on Psychology Today.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. Brandy, hello. Michelle, hello. Chris, hello. Tracy. Hello, Tracy. Margie, top of the morning to you. Good morning. I keep catching your lives. I'm so excited. Hi, Ginger. How are you doing? Amber, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Laurie, hello. Michelle, hello. Uh, Kelly, hello. Delora, hi, howdy, hiya, hello. How are you? Kim, hello. Eleni Timokanis Pasisa, all the way from Greece. Hello. No caffeine. No caffeine today. It's just the normal crazy me. Jody, hello. Oh my God, you got a Broadway song and then some. Debbie, hello. And Kathy and Diana and Jody, hello. Tracy, I know who you are, Tracy. And Janet, welcome everybody. Welcome. So good. Hey, Michelle. So good to see you guys. Well, I'm so excited about our talk. So here's how I know Intissar. Back when COVID started, like, what is it? We're talking 2019? Yeah.
March. Yeah.
2019. It was crazy. I was just done doing the speaker program. I won the speaker program. I got on some lives, and you were on. I just happened to pop up on your page.
Somehow, I don't know how I connected.
And ever since then, I have loved this woman. You guys, the most kindest, gentlest, and smartest person. Amongst one of the many that I know. I got to be careful here. Amongst the many that I know that I love. I just love that you are a psychologist and just you do such great work. And last time we were on,
Well, I'll correct that, Elias.
Yes.
It's because it's important for me.
Yes, please.
I'm a licensed clinical social worker, which social work is very different than psychology So the background is very different. So it's an important difference. Yeah.
Okay.
Social work background, clinical social work. Yeah.
Clinical social worker. And that's what my teacher was with the shamanic work, a master's in social work. But I have to tell you, the last time that we did this was March of 2021. Self-renewal, integrating the many aspects of self. And it was just amazing. You brought some great detail, some great self-help tools that everybody was talking Intissar about like weeks after. It was great. It was really great. Hi, Astrid. Good to see you. Dina, hello. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Charlene. And hello, Lori. Hope you're doing well. So tell us a little bit about our topic tonight, because we're talking about healthful contact. And what does that mean, thriving within self?
Yeah. So as I was, reflecting on our time here this evening, it brought me back to 15 years ago when I started my own personal journey, I had just turned 40, was in the deep end with raising 4 children, and I had no sense of me or myself. And I was like, I can't live this way. I need to find out who's here. Who's here. So I started going to therapy, and that's how I got introduced to this idea of healthful contact with me, with myself. I didn't know, I knew that I loved everyone. I didn't know that I needed to love myself or take care of me in a gentle, loving way, or to have healthful contact with me. That I learned through my own therapeutic process. And now I'm proudly 55, so 15 years. And I can honestly say that from that point to this point, my relationship with me has grown, developed, matured, evolved to areas that I didn't even think it was possible. So a big part of like the foundation of my practice with clients, whatever it is that they're coming to work on, the foundation is really starting to develop and nurture a more loving, caring, compassionate, um, contactful, and healthful relation with self. Right. My Gestalt teacher that I love dearly, who passed away 4 years ago, one of her signature workshops was arriving already loved.
I like that.
Right? So, this, she nurtured in us and taught us how to do that, how to arrive in any place, in any setting, in any relationship already loved and loved by me, you, ourselves, right? And so how foundational that is in order to thrive in this life. Um, and really shifting the paradigm from, well, that's like selfish. I mean, I think traditionally
Right.
the platform has always been like, to love yourself is a selfish thing, and it is so not selfish, because what I've also grown to understand, that the more I nurture and nourish that, the more there is of me to nurture and nourish others in that.
But why are we taught? Why are we taught that self love is selfish? Because, as Eleni says, so another fellow Greek, true, we're often failed to realize we need to actually love ourselves as much as others.
Yeah.
And that's so true. Now, Jody says here, selfish or arrogant. Hmm. And I would say that, you know, and you all know my history, everybody. So, when I have dated and actually married and divorced a narcissist, that's a different kind of love,
So
everybody. It's a
different.
different kind of love.
So
Uh,
different. Yes.
yeah,
So really, yeah. This is a love that is actually so necessary.
right, right.
So
And
necessary.
people don't recognize it. They don't recognize that it's, I find, and I'm sure you do, with the life coaching, that all the fears that are placed upon self and living in that fear piece, all the love is underneath here. And everything else just gets piled up. And this part
Mhm.
isn't allowed to shine.
It's, I mean, oftentimes even like cut off or severed, right?
Sure.
And
Yes.
so that's part of why it actually, I mean, it's taken, for me, it's taken this practice and this engagement with myself in self-love so many years. It takes, and it's a daily practice. It's a daily practice. It's not something we decide, well, I mean, it's important to decide, I want to decide to start loving myself, but it's not a decisional thing. It's more of a experiential, practical, active process
Right.
to
So
grow
true.
in self love.
So
Yes.
true. Joyce says, Margie says, I'm actually there now in my 40s, 5 beautiful humans I was lucky to bring into the world. And I often wonder, who am I
Yeah.
outside of this? living for those around me. Don't get me wrong, this is a
Yeah.
blessing for me. It's so easy to lose yourself a little. I do struggle with self-love. Yes. Joyce says, I felt like we were taught to sacrifice our own happiness first and serving others, but draining us in the process. I
Yes.
agree with you. I agree.
So
Betty says, if you can't love self, how can you love anyone else? Yes. And RuPaul says the same thing all the time. So,
well, I don't know. I mean, I was able to love everyone else so deeply, right? But what happened was I would also grow in some resentment because nothing was left in me, right? Not so much towards the kids, but
right.
towards others. I
Sure.
mean, the children. I mean, that's just for me, at least as a mother, it was a natural thing. But I would also reach a limit where I was completely depleted and nothing was left in me, right?
So true. And,
Yeah.
Brene Brown talks about, I think it's Brene Brown, if I'm quoting correctly. She said that guilt is pent up anger.
Mhm.
And I find that fascinating because, I don't know about you guys, Catholic, Jewish, Greek. I mean, we have some of those guilts, and it's like, well, I feel guilty about this. Well, do you feel guilty? Or are you angry and feel like, you had to, because of that I'm giving, 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 and then nothing's coming back.
Mhm.
So, and Andrea says, many of us were raised with martyr syndrome. If we aren't killing ourselves, loving others, we aren't doing it right.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's, I have to say, that's also, for, um, I identify as woman, and for women, that's a big part of being a good mom. For
Sure.
those of us who choose to go in marriage as a good wife or a good daughter, it's this paradigm of selflessness, right? That I personally feel is also part of the patriarchy, and then we have certain religious structures that really, really sort of present selflessness as the way to go, and but not in the way where you lose yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what's a way of thriving with self, loving self? How do we get back in contact? Because Nikki says this, I think as a parent, you give everything to your kids, raising them, then you wake up and the kids are gone, and then you have to find yourself again. You have to find your identity. I agree with that. Brandy says, in our capitalist society, we are often so told to judge others, too big, too skinny, we don't fit in with trends, etc., that we're not perfect the way we are. So true. This is why we're here to change that. That's
Yes.
why our voice has to be heard with kindness, everybody.
Yeah.
Kindness and respect.
Yes.
And it is starting with self first,
Yes. It
right?
is
So
starting
go ahead. I'm
with.
sorry I interrupted you.
No, that is true. It is starting with self. So here goes like a little practice you can
I
start.
love it. Okay.
Okay. And this was also, I was taught this by my teacher, Mariah. Um, she would say, instead of waking up, wake yourself up in a gentle way. So just as you're opening your eyes in the morning, it's put your hand anywhere, like stroke yourself and say, good morning, sweetheart, or good morning, Intissar. Greet yourself, right?
Hmm.
So it's like,
I like that.
try that. Just try that now. Maybe say, everyone that's listening with us, put your hand, if you want, somewhere, maybe on your shoulder, on your heart, on your chest, and say hello and use your name.
Good morning. Good after. Good evening, Elias. Good,
Hello, how
ooh,
are
that
you?
resonates. So just like,
How are you, darling? Yeah,
how are you feeling today?
yeah,
How are you feeling in this moment?
yes.
Hmm.
Tell
Very
me.
nice. Very nice.
And so you have an opportunity to do that in the morning.
Yes.
Then also when you go to bed,
Yeah.
put yourself to sleep,
I
tuck
love
yourself in, and do the whole gesture again of good night, sweetheart. Good night, my darling.
just as a side note,
Yeah.
Emmy says Intissar has the most beautiful hands.
Oh, thank you.
Um, Eleni said it's so liberating. Yes, truly. Sarah would like to know a little, what helps with panic attacks?
Okay.
What happens if we don't love ourselves enough and we get into this, wound up place?
Well, the way that I look at panic attacks is I always like to go to the root cause. So I don't like to just treat symptoms, because it's like I have a headache and I'll take Tylenol, but I don't know, where's this headache coming from? Is it from the tension? Is it from the stress? Is it I'm getting sick? Right? And so for me, panic, anything that our body is expressing, to me, is information. So panic, anxiety is information. It's telling me something is out of order. So I don't know what it is that's out of order, but I would need to look and see, investigate, be curious. And of course, in order to do that, you need someone to assist you in that process, right? I'm not saying to do this by yourself, but I mean, I've experienced panic attacks when I didn't even know what they were.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were. I just felt like this thing is happening in my body, and then I learned, oh, this is a panic attack, right? And then that's actually what led me into therapy, because I realized the panic was also like, I don't know who the heck I am.
Fascinating.
I
Yeah.
remember the store I was in, where I was just paralyzed, where I felt like I'm just going to die right now. Yeah.
People are liking this. Priscilla says, much better than waking up with, I have to get up.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
nice.
Yes.
Hello, Annette. Hello, Annette. Hello, Danielle. Good to see you. Hi, Nita. Nita says, what a simple movement for a big change.
Yeah. And then if it's practiced daily, it really brings even more, movement and change, because in these gestures, you are one acknowledging that you have a relationship with yourself. Because oftentimes we don't regard, this is a relationship that you have with Elias, I have with Intissar. So it's like like Martin Buber says, I and thou. It's I with me. It's Intissar and me. It's Intissar and you. So there is a relationship that we hold with ourselves that is very much like the relationship where you hold with someone else that you befriend or love.
So
So
true.
so remember that. If you forget, how do I do this? It's like, well, how do I relate to my beloved, or how do I relate to my dear friend?
Right.
This is how I need to relate with me.
Kathleen says, thank you for that suggestion. It just makes for a great self acknowledgement. It
Mhm.
does. And hello, Carla. Hello, Cindy. Gabriella, Timukanis, Posisa. I just said hello. How are you in Greek? And Dina says, yes, needing to self soothe and
Yeah.
not requiring it from others.
Yes. It doesn't mean that we don't still need it from others, but it shifts the reliance. So I'm not waiting for someone else. It's lovely to have someone else provide for us. This is not an either or proposition. This is a more proposition, that
Right.
I can do this when I'm feeling anxious. I can say, "What's up, sweetheart? Tell me. I'm here with you. Tell me why you're anxious."
So self dialoguing, and really, when I hear self dialogue, it really tells me that I value what I have to say to myself, to my heart, to my core, to my essence. I love that. I love that.
Yes. We have in relational spaces basic needs of to be heard, to be seen, and to be felt.
Hmm.
So we transfer that within our relationship with ourselves. So I need to listen to me in order to feel heard by me.
Got it. Got
Right?
it.
I need to feel what's happening in me in order for me to be felt.
Yes. I can hear that as well. Yes.
Right? Not that we don't need that from others that we relate to, but this is the foundation that we take with us in any relational space we enter. What's my relationship with me? Right?
Right.
Right.
Like Brandy says, gentle parenting, but for ourselves.
That's right. That's right. Yes, we do reparent ourselves. And to go back to the dialogue point, that is actually, yes, so true, Elias, that um, it, it is so important to have this dialogue and to have it even out loud with ourselves, not just silently in our heads, right? Because oftentimes that there is dialogue already happening. Oftentimes, before we start practicing shifting that dialogue, it most of the time is a negative dialogue or a very judgmental dialogue. Simply like, what did you think you were doing?
Right. Yeah. Or why did I do that,
Why
dumbass?
did you do that? That
Right.
was really stupid.
Right.
These are like basic dialogues that the majority of us have had or continue to have at some point, right? Were
Right.
you an idiot? What are
Right.
you thinking?
Right.
Right.
And Eleni says, my body is attacking me in all sorts of way.
Mm.
In self dialogue, it's so hard to hear the answer. Hmm. Lisa says, I judge myself all the time. So, how can you be kinder to self? Because the way that you talk to your best friend, is that the way that you're talking to yourself? Is that a way that you want to truly love yourself? Is it a way that you want to thrive from within? Notice I'm throwing the thrive in word because that's our theme.
Yeah.
But notice how we're to thrive within, to say, like I always say, and you've heard me say this, Intissar, when you say yes to self, the universe says yes back.
Back
It's
to
these
yeah.
same basic
Yes.
rules that
Yes.
if we think of us as a system, as a solar system, and we are the center of that solar system, then we have to feed to be able to say, oh, I love the rest of me. I love what's around me. I love my environment. I love the planets that are going around me, people, whatever it is. And if you're not liking those planets, then
Yeah.
you shift
That's
and
right.
you move.
You move, you shift and you move.
Right.
So I can lay a sort of a foundation
Yes,
from
please.
from a Gestalt perspective. This relationship is I the provider, Intissar, to you the receiver, Intissar.
Provider to
The receiver, me.
receiver. I
So
love that.
very much like a parent child. And
Mhm.
for those who may not have a parent or child, it's you in your role as the person that you are in service of, for example. Right?
Right. Right.
So there is the provider and the receiver part of me. Now, oftentimes we learn how to be the provider to ourselves from our original caregivers.
Right.
So we model after those who took care of us as children. And there's, of course, dynamics in that relationship that need to shift as we grow older because they don't serve us well anymore. Of like, why
Right.
did you do that? Right? That was
Right.
bad.
Right.
Shouldn't do that. Right? So now, as we are in adulthood, we start taking charge and reparenting and becoming the provider that we want to be. Right? So I actually have this dialogue with clients on the couch that's in front of me, and you sit and you be the provider and talk to the receiver, and then you switch and you be the receiver, and you're like, why are you talking to me like this? That's really hard to hear. Well, what do you want me to say to you? I want you to be gentler with me. Can you please say that it's okay if I make a mistake? Well, it's really hard for me to say that, but since you asked, I'll try to learn. So
Mhm.
that's part of shifting that dialogue is learning how to do it better. And the truth is, what I've witnessed and seen over and over again is the receiver part of us. To me, the way I hear the receiver is the part of us that stays whole and holds the wisdom of
Mhm.
what we need as an organism. So that receiver part really remains intact. It's that part of us that's whole.
And that can then flow through other people, like the boundaries that we set for ourselves by someone else, correct? Like if I'm not doing that for myself, how can I ask somebody else to do that for me? Meaning,
Absolutely.
I'm not, you're telling me that I am bad and that I won't be talked that way. Well, so talk to me. So you asking that other person why?
Yes.
Why, right?
Yes. And what I've found through this work, Elias, also is that actually the boundary is set naturally. You don't even have to speak it when you uphold it within yourself with you.
Could you repeat that? Because that's really good.
Yes, what I've noticed through this time that I've been working with this dynamic is that when you hold, now I'm trying to sometimes I can't repeat the
No,
same.
I do the same thing, so I get it.
Seriously, but the idea is that you don't need to put up that boundary with
Right,
others when you have that set in place with you, when you have spoken kindly rather than violently to yourself, you naturally carry that boundary within you that others will naturally respect.
right. I love that. I mean, that is, it goes to the, you want to obviously treat others as you want to be treated, but also let's add to that, treat yourself
As you want others to treat
as you
you.
want others to treat you.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's part of thriving.
yeah. I love that.
That's part
I
of
love
helpful contact with
I love
yourself and with others. It's like you walk with that, and everywhere you walk with it, it will naturally interact in that way with someone else.
So we learned, because I know a lot of people are going to have some questions. We
Sure.
learned about, waking up and saying good morning to self. How are you doing?
Yes.
And, being gentle with self, giving loving touch to self.
Yes.
And then also at night, what would we say at night?
Good morning. I mean, good night. Tell me how, maybe you want to check in. How was your day today?
Okay. All right. That's nice. I like that. To do a check in for self. Good
Yes.
night. We had a lovely day. How was it? Or
So
whatever.
it would be, how was your day? And you would
How was
answer,
your day?
I had a hard day today. Well, tell me, what was hard for you today? That
Okay.
interaction with Susie, it was really hard for me.
Sure.
Well, tell me, and I'll give you a series of actually questions, okay? If people want to write this down, or if
Yeah.
somebody wants to write it in the chat, okay?
Go ahead.
Part of the this is also from
I
Mariah.
just love you. I just love you. Go ahead.
She she So after you say good morning, how are you? The very like signature question is, tell me what's important to you this morning. And you wait to hear an answer. And then you ask, and how are you feeling about that?
Good.
Wait and hear the answer.
Mhm.
And then you ask, tell me what you need for that. And then you get creative and provide for yourself. So we can go through an example. Good morning, Intissar. Tell me what's important for you. Oh, it's really important that um, today I show up in this way for this person, for example. And how are you feeling about that? Well, I'm a little bit worried that I might not show up in the way that this person may need me to show up. So I'm afraid that I'm going to mess up today. And how are you? What are you needing around this worry? I need you to tell me that um, however I show up is going to be okay, that this is the best that I'm doing. in the way that I'm showing up. Whatever it is that you need.
Sure.
Okay, I will tell you. I'll remind you. I'll tell you that the way you will get the answers. And you might not get it. It takes time and practice, because also it's really important to know we've learned to be cut off from our needs. So many of us, we weren't allowed to have needs.
Makes sense. It's so funny when you say this, how much I love my parents. It's
Yeah.
not like they were
Yeah.
bad people, but
No.
the one thing that always was the rule
Uh-huh.
was this: good people don't do that. Good people don't do that. Good people don't wear jeans on Sunday, meaning pointing to me because I showed up in a polo and blue jeans on a Sunday. Good people don't do that. So it was always that, even though they adopted me and they loved me and everything was great, it was always that the message was the underlining message of what is everybody else going to think. It wasn't what you think, what was everybody else,
Yes.
doing and thinking about you. Because my mom would always say, I know she's fine now, obviously, but she would be like, you never show your dirty laundry. You never discuss it. Everything is wonderful and everything is better. But how are you doing? Fabulous, wonderful. My mom was very Jackie O, very, Jacqueline Kennedy. Let's see what they're saying.
Yeah.
Let's see. Aloha, Janelle. Good to see you, Janelle. I bet you. I know you came in a little late, but the interesting piece is, I bet you do something like this, Janelle, where you're saying good morning to yourself, and you actually. Now, being an only child, I talk to myself all the time. But good morning. How are you? Do a check-in with you, and you love yourself in this way. Dina says, "Love this. Use yourself as a positive sounding board." Nita says, "I just got an answer. Just saying, good evening, Nita."
Oh,
I love
lovely.
that.
Lovely.
Cindy says, "Do you think this, or say out loud, I talk to myself a lot already. They're going to put
Oh,
me in a
yeah.
rubber room soon."
I personally say it like softly out loud, not just in my head. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to hear my voice to me. Yeah.
Unless you're me and I'll just say it loud. I don't care who's saying it. I'll just like, hey, what's going on? But everybody knows my personality. Anyway, speak the truth, sister. Yes, yes, yes. Um, let's see. Jody says, you weren't raised like that. Yeah. Uh, speak to yourself out loud, I believe. Yes. Lisa, Catholic Italian family. You never discuss your feelings. You know what I'm talking about, Lisa. Janelle, morning, noon, and night. You know me well. I know you know well, girl. I know you well. Does anybody have any questions for Intissar? You just went through some really cool, just two simple ways of understanding and loving and healthful contact for self. I love it. Um, I answer myself out loud too. I love that. Yes. Okay, I'm excited to do this. Excellent, Cindy.
Okay.
Terry, good evening. Good to see you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions about how do we truly thrive by loving self? And what's stopping you? What's stopping you, everyone, to really say yes to you? What is stopping you from saying yes to you? What is the block that's there? What is the obstacle? Because an obstacle can always be removed
That's right.
or dealt with, whatever you want. But pardon me, whatever you say. Janelle
Oh,
says, but mostly I laugh with myself. I love that. I know.
wonderful.
I do
Yeah.
too. I make when, through the whole divorce and being, I would talk to the dogs the whole time. And especially with COVID, I mean, it was like, I didn't go anywhere. The only time I went was because people in Chicago were saying, "Oh my God, we don't have enough Lysol wipes." I made sure that I went out every other day to get. I had 24. cans of Lysol wipes. You should have saw me. I was nuts when it first
Did you
started.
bring them with you to Washington?
Oh my God. I had a setup table in the garage for all the groceries, and I would wipe everything down. I would take it out of the box if it was in a box.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
we.
I was like
Oh
crazy.
wow.
Terry, sorry. Terry says, guilt is my block.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So guilt is really an interesting feeling. Guilt typically masks another deeper primary emotion.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
because guilt is more doable, perhaps, and more acceptable within a social context,
Yep.
um, we feel like it's always guilt. But oftentimes there's a primary emotion beneath the guilt.
Got it.
Yeah.
Dina says, why is it that negativity or trauma we have in our lives seems stronger or takes hold rather than the love?
Okay. Um, it- the way I see it, when something is showing up, or like the language she used, taking hold, to me, that's telling me it's needing attention. It needs some attending to. It needs to be taken care of. It's not like it's trying to get back at us. It's like something happened. We became frozen in that moment, like it's lodged in us physically somewhere in our body, the memory. And if it's showing up as a block, it's saying, please take care of me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Please take care of me. So I take that as information,
Yeah.
and it needs to be taken care of, whether professionally.
And could you see, just throwing this out there because we have another question right after this that might go with that. Could you see where that piece is stuck is where when it, something bumps up against it, this is the anxiety. And then it turns into an anxiety attack.
Right. And then it turns into a panic attack because it's like the energy gets lodged. Anytime anxiety, basically, or panic, is that you've had your fill and there's no more space. And
Sure.
then it comes out as anxiety or panic. That's it. It's
And
like
I go
the
ahead.
vessel, I'm sorry, it's like the vessel, the valve has now, it's like the pressure cooker valve, right? It stays stable and then it starts releasing because there's no more room in the pressure cooker
Right.
itself. So that's again information. I don't see this as something is wrong with you. It just says something needs to be taken care of.
And I didn't realize this is for everybody. You guys know that I'm pretty, transparent on here. I didn't realize that I had a panic attack. It clicked the other day. I was thinking of a friend who has panic attacks, and I was like, how can I relate this? I'm like, I had a panic attack in high school. So I was thrown down a flight of stairs in junior high, and then it happened again. Not thrown down, but it was like something happened in high school, and being an only child, and then you had to have open gym with the open showers and everything. You know, I don't know. I came home so frustrated, and I was thinking about that. I had a cough that I couldn't catch my breath, and it turned into what you might have said was a
Right.
like a whooping cough,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I had to go to the doctor. My mom and dad took me, and we went and they gave me a nebulizer for 3 weeks. And instead of regular gym, I went to the gym they weren't special ed gyms, but it was for the kids that couldn't run fast, or it was a special gym where if you had like breathing issues or whatever, it was you still did activity, but you didn't run around the court 6 times. Maybe you did swimming or something. And it was so weird for those first 3 weeks, because then once I got shifted into the other type of gym, that stopped. It just like clicked, and I was like, oh wow, you did have a panic attack.
Yeah.
You didn't realize that that's what it was because they said, oh, it's like a whooping cough. We can't know where it comes from. Fascinating. Okay, sorry. So how can you calm yourself when you feel an anxiety attack coming?
Yeah. So there's multiple ways. It's really helpful to catch it when it's not at a 10. When it's at a 10, it's really hard to calm.
Sure.
So there's like long-term ways and then short-term ways. For me personally, having suffered through so much anxiety, like I started meditating about 20 years ago, and it has really, 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 I honestly feel, done something for me that has been so helpful. But this is long-term practice. Short-term practice, it can be having this dialogue with self. There are many breathing techniques. There are ways where you can, put one hand on your forehead and the other, like back
Yes.
here where the amygdala is, the
Yeah.
reptilian brain, and bringing calm. So there's multiple techniques, but these are also um, techniques that are dealing with the symptom and not the root cause of the anxiety. So you can do both, but the more sustainable one is really looking at the root causes of what is it that's causing all this anxiety. Yeah.
Hi Neil, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Um, Stimulating the vagus nerve. Yes, yes.
Hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Miss Rebecca says thousands of dollars worth of therapy done.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know that I'm a therapist, and um, not all therapy works.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they're not all good. All doctors are good doctors. They don't.
Right.
No, it's just like in every field. I can hear you, Rebecca. Absolutely, yes.
You have to find the right match, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like I used to say, massage school. Everybody can be a great therapist, but you
Mm.
have to find one that resonates with you. Margie says, I think for me, it's the love I have for others and wanting them to be happy and thriving. Kathleen says, any best practice to push away those blocking self talks, the doubt sitting on your other shoulder. Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, the practice is to raise the volume and the voice of the one who supports and the one who really offers encouragement, right? So it's not so oftentimes we try to shut that other voice, and the more we try to shut it, the more it comes back with a vengeance. So the way to quiet it is by raising the volume of the supporter voice, the
Right.
loving voice, the comforting voice, and this one will naturally quiet as this one gets louder.
Dolores says, I don't like the days I get into an argument with myself and I lose.
That's so
That's
yeah.
good. Hi,
um,
Lee. How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Good to see you. What is Priscilla says? Lee Michael tapping. Tapping, yes.
Tapping,
And
of
what
course.
what this was shown, what Intissar showed, this is part of you guys. Donna Eden does
uh,
something from energy medicine.
yeah,
Donna Eden energy medicine. It's
tapping
created.
is very helpful as
Yeah,
well. Yes. Hmm.
yeah. Brandy says, I've used the technique of naming two things I can see,
Yeah.
two things I can hear, two things that I can feel, bringing myself back into my physical senses. This is when she's having a panic or an anxiety attack.
Yeah, that's ground. These are grounding techniques, and that's also very helpful when you're starting to feel like I might be disassociating a little bit, like feeling
Right,
like I'm not here.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we're coming close to our time, but thriving with self is if we were thriving all day, if we were loving ourselves all day, if we were doing, and not that we can't, we can thrive, we can love ourselves, we can have these positive conversations with self and go within and, yes, this is not saying those of you that want to do talk therapy, it's important. But if you have a talk session with yourself and see, then maybe you're getting the idea of what's being spotlighted for you, correct? What they
Yes.
can come in and see. Um,
Can I
Janelle
add
says, go.
something to that, Elias? Is that um, we'll fall out of love during the day with ourselves, right?
Right,
We can't be one thing all the time, right?
right,
We can grow into that. And so I love what Tara Brach, the Buddhist teacher, teaches is that, celebrate the moment you wake up rather than being hard on yourself for being forgetful, right? So,
right,
yes, remember that it's waking up. Oh, I need to do something to show me that I love me, you know? And these things don't have to cost. It's not like you have to buy it or it's readily available to us.
right.
Yeah.
And that's why, you guys, when I do the I am statements,
Yes.
those I am statements are so important, as I'm going to
Are.
say again, the intention, the action, and the manifestation. I am. So important to learn those. And really, it's not just about saying it, as Intissar said, saying it, feeling it, hearing it, knowing it. It
Yes.
is those pieces that allow you, and I always say this, those of you that always want to connect to your intuition, when you connect in those way of, I talk well to myself, I see myself in a good light, I hear myself in a good light, I feel myself in a good light, I know I'm in a good light. What is that? Clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant, claircognizant. Those are your clairs, right? Or if you're sitting in front of the refrigerator and you're saying yes, that would be the eclair. Just sharing with everybody. um, I know, Lee, right? Intissar has the best energy. I
Well,
just
thank you,
love
Lily.
her. I just love her. And Lee Michael is also, you guys, for those of you who are new, Lee is also a psychic medium. And Lee, you're on Mondays. I keep on forgetting. Are you on Mondays or Tuesdays? And Janelle, tell everybody when you're on too, because that's really important too. Kathleen says, thank you so much for this, Intissar. I appreciate
Most
everything you shared with
welcome.
us.
You're most welcome.
I just got on. We'll have to watch. Yes, Irene, please do so. And Nikki says, it is easier to say, I love you to someone else than rather yourself. I'm learning to love myself again and feels great.
Wonderful. Yes.
I love
Love
that. So, Lee Michael's on Tuesdays on Facebook, guys. And Janelle, when are you at? Thank you. Tuesdays at 7 p.m. And you both are just wonderful,
Oh, you're
as are you, my
wonderful.
friend,
Yes.
as you
Right.
are. How can people, if they wanted to contact you, how would they contact you?
That's a really good question.
Well, do you have a Facebook thing, or is there?
I don't really have much on whether it's social media or in terms of website. I tend to stay under the radar and um, it's word of mouth, but I do have like a little blurb about me on Psychology Today. Yeah.
How about this? Will you come back again sooner than later?
I would love to come back
I
and be
just
with you.
love
Yeah.
you on here. It's
I
just,
love
I
being
don't
with
know. I
you.
know that we've never met, you guys. We've never met in person.
But it feels like we have, in fact.
Right. And
Yeah.
it feels like you are just, you know, family to me. You are just so family to me.
Thank you. I feel the same.
Thank you.
Elias has been great. I did what program with you, Elias? I did the
You
12
didn't
week.
the
What was it?
12-week, you did the empowerment, the
Yes.
empowerment, empowering self program. The very first one. Priscilla, what was it? I don't remember.
I
It's
don't
just
either, but
so many things. And I will send you a copy, Intissar, when the book comes out,
yeah,
changing the FU into
to
thank you.
yeah,
How to flip the script and see the gift. Yes,
I'd love
yes.
to get that. Yes.
Margie says, a beautiful, peaceful presence.
Thank
Thank you.
you, Margie.
So nice. Gabriella, thank you.
Thank
Uh,
you for being here. Yeah.
I'm so glad, you guys. So, so glad. Thank you, guys. All right, everybody. Oh, look at Gabriella says, oh, closer to Philly, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, King of Prussia is 23 miles west of the city. Yep,
Yes.
you got
So
it.
she's in that area. She is in that
Oh,
area. Dina says, thank you, Eliza and Intissar, for some helpful hints and practices. And guys, that's why I want you guys, all of you that are from TikTok, thank you for crossing over and coming here, because we can take our time. We can get to know everybody. And I really bring you wonderful, amazing people. And I'm just going to tell you who's coming up next, if you can bear with me. So next Wednesday, we have Kira Schaefer. She and I are going to do channeling. She channels Kuan Yin.
oh,
So I'm going to do the angel channeling. She'll do Kuan Yin, and we'll answer questions. The following Wednesday on the 10th, we have Rhiannon Archuleta. Because the theme is communication. We're going to do, she's going to talk about animal communication. Then Dr. Lisa Thompson, who is one of the Celebrate Your Life speaker, she was part of the Soul Fest that I was in. She's going to talk about galactic communication.
wow.
I know. And then I think you know her, Intissar. I'm pretty sure you do. But Gina Hatsis, she's from Canada. She did the talk Too Much Woman on YouTube. It got 5 million views overnight.
Wow.
Too Much Woman. So she's going to talk about communicating with self.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I love her. She's just, strong Greek lady. She's
All
just
right.
really, really good. And and just to give you a little clue, guys, coming up themes. September is going to be about grounding. So I'm telling you this in advance, Intissar, so pick a theme. September is grounding.
Uh-huh.
October is going to be about change. November will be all about gratefulness, and December will be about celebration. So Jody says, I agree, Rebecca. I've never been disappointed by an Elias live. Oh, thanks, guys.
Elias is wonderful. That's why.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Elias, you're for sure you're 4 for 4 since I've been following you. Thank you so much, Rebecca. That's very sweet. Cheryl says, was napping, just got here. Need to watch from the beginning. Yes. All right, my dear. I know it's 3 hours later. I want to thank you from my heart for being here. Thank you so much. Please come back soon, because people just adore you. And you give such amazing information for everybody. So thank you. And Dolores putting this on there. So everybody, we are here to connect. And when we connect, we educate. And we educate, we grow. There is unity in community. From our hearts to yours. Thanks, everybody. Remember, love self, and remember, tell yourself good night. Tomorrow night, guys, come back here tomorrow night. We're going to do with Crisscross Astro Sauce, the intuitive astrologer on, did you like the name? Intuitive astrologer from TikTok. We're going to talk about the new moon in Leo and what you can do to manifest for the new moon. Okay. Thanks, guys. You just got on. Watch the play. Thanks. Intissar, hold one moment. Thanks, everybody.